Good morning. Hello. I know my intro is always the same, but that's the way shows are. You have your signature and intro. I listen to late night, and it's always the same. Mine is not so different, and I try to make it quick, so it's not a form of torture, and I don't want to change it. Anyway, lots of stuff on the news. You know, this carnivorous virus, however you pronounce it, is very serious. We might be living in end of days. Literally, we're living in the middle of a sci-fi movie. I'm telling you. One day it's a couple hundred cases. Now it's a few thousand. How long before we have quarantined cities here in the USA? Remember AIDS? How it came in and nobody gave a shit? No one cared. It was only until Tom Hanks made that memorable speech at the Oscars for his movie Philadelphia. He poured his heart out and said, please, people, these are human beings. Anyway, they're trying to build hospitals over there in China, a case in France, a case in Canada. And what the hell, man? You get on a plane and you contaminate 300 people. Those 300 contaminate 1,000. Do you know how hard it is to contain that? Anyway, I don't know why I'm getting into that. Maybe I'm scared. Maybe I'm one of the few people that get scared. Maybe we got to start stocking up on rice, beans, flour, dog food. Who the hell knows? Who knows? Really, sometimes you have to try to predict the future and not take such a nonchalant attitude towards things. Sometimes things just land on your lap and then you ignorantly say, "Oh wow, I didn't think about that." Well, I'm giving you some food for thought. I'm pretty sure that every single scientist in the world is trying to cure this, bombarding it with all and every single drug we have to combat this. This is what happens when people like in China drink bat soup, rats, dogs. Something happened there, something horrible. Bat soup. Those Chinese, they got habits like you would not believe. They sit in a restaurant and beat the hell out of a monkey and eat his brains. Man, this is something wrong with that civilization, I'm telling you. Anyway, I'm bumming myself out. And I have a poem here that will bum you all out. This is one of my long ones, people. It's called Cortez. Here goes. I just got off my trusty employee that keeps my time machine well oiled and dust free. No one could ever believe me, but the time has arrived and now I can go back in time to anywhere, to any age. Where do you think I landed this time? Why, it's in the early Americas, way after Christopher Columbus. I have decided to help the indigenous people take down a man called Cortez. The madman who came and went. Soaked in blood, they left indigenous blood spilled everywhere they walk. What is new history is telling us the truth. Everything turned to red and throats slit to the gills. The first thing is to explain what gunpowder is and the roar they will hear. Like thunder, they must become accustomed to it. The next thing is going to be strategic fighting, strategy, what guerrilla warfare is, hit and run and disappear. This way the enemy will feel it, taking one man down at a time, poison darts and clever traps. History will be changed on this day because you, Cortez, are going down for the count. Say your prayers on this day. Mark is here to help bring you down. How dare you invade these sweet cultures for your queen and king and your country? It is you that will be running for your life now that the shoe's on the other foot, getting accustomed to it. If I were you, I would go back home with your head down. We know how cruel of a man you really are. Oh, I know you're a bit surprised. You thought it was going to be a breeze with your technology, modern muskets, and fresh gunpowder. Well, I was until I showed up. Well, I have some of my advice, and I'm giving it to your enemies, just a simple person living in this country. So run, little rabbits, run. Oh, you say it's not fair. Look who's talking about fairness. The one man who thought himself so clever. Oh, they fight among each other, these indigenous people, but everything is a fair fight, not like what you brought about. You were embraced like gods, but you ended up being their demise, with horses ready to pounce and blankets full of disease, smallpox. I will teach them what little I know about medicine, perhaps make a real penicillin. I will teach them much, and they will in turn teach me. Their gold, they can keep it. I want nothing to do with it. I never could believe that so few men took them down like that, an entire culture. So this is why I came back in time to slaughter the Hernan Cortez on this fine day in history. Now have been changed. The history of the natives, and maybe they will never forget who came them to give them a helping hand. None other than a guy called him. And Cortez, just for history's sake, you were no nobleman. You were a true murderer, and this can never be changed no matter what history says. It could have been so different. You Spaniards never change, a cruel people from the get-go, but some of you pay the price with your very lives, and so it should be that way, since you are no good, just flesh and bone, like all. Boy, ain't that the truth? I mean, is there anything in history that's any good? Horrible. Please reshare my posts.